Morning. We're going to do a little subnetting exercise just for review, help you out with the lab I gave you. So we're going to use the 192.168.1 network, which would normally be a Class C network with a subnet value of 255.255.255.0. The .0 is the available host. We've used three octets to identify the network, which would normally be 192.168.1, and the 0 is available for hosts. So what we're going to do is use the grid. I made a little grid here for you. On the top is the number of networks, starting from 2, 4, 8, all the way up to 256 networks. The actual bit values for the bits, remember there's 4 octets for an IP4 address, and we have a Class C, so we have 8 bits to make addresses, numbers from 1 to 256. And down here I did the corresponding hosts. Now, I'm going to use a CIDR value of /26, and if you remember a Class C network, is a /24. So what's happened? We've stolen 2 bits over here. The first bit and the second bit with a bit value 128 and 64. So I just draw a line right here. And that tells me I can create 4 networks right there, incrementing by 64. Okay? So we're just going to figure all that out. So what I did was I incremented by 64 over here. First network's 192.168.1.0. Increment by 64. The next network ID is 192.168.1.64. Next one is 192.168.1.128 and 192.168.1.192. And I calculate one past that because I'm going to need to know the broadcast address for this 4th network, 192.168.1.256. So let's do a little math. So let's take this guy here, and I'm going to calculate the broadcast address. So 64, this is my network here. I need the broadcast address. I go to 192.168.1.64 and I need the broadcast address. So I just take 1 off the next network ID, and that gives me a broadcast address of .63, right? Then I go to this 128 minus 1, so I can get the broadcast address for the second network. It will be .127. Then I go to 192.168.1.128. I look at the network past it. It's 192. So I take 1 off, bonk, and it is now .191. Whoops, let's put that in properly. Thank you very much. And then I go down here, 256 minus 1 gives me the broadcast address for the 4th network. So 256 minus 1 is .255, which is, if we're just using a Class C network, that's what it would be anyways, right? So now I've got to figure out the hosts. So that's pretty straightforward. I take the network ID plus 1, and that gives me the first available host. So 0 plus 1 is, guess what? 0.1. 64 plus 1 is 0.65. 128 plus 1 is .129. And 192 plus 1 is .193, and this one I don't need because it's going to be an unusable network. To get the last available host, I look at the broadcast address. 63 minus 1 is .62. 127 minus 1 is .126. And 191, did I do that right? Oh, see, that's wrong. This one's actually 192. Okay, so we'll just fix that up. 192, thank you. And 192 minus 1 is .191, and 255 minus 1 is .254. Sorry about the mess up here, but we'll have to live with it, okay? So that means my available hosts on the first network are 1 to 63. Network plus 1 gives me the first, broadcast minus 1 gives me the last. This one on the 64 network, first one's 65, last one's 126. Down here on the 128, first one's 129, and 192 minus 1 gives me 191. This one's 193 to 254 because it's got a broadcast there. So let's play with the first network. Let's take that out. So my first available IP address is .1. So if I go down here to Fast Ethernet 0, and I say, oh, okay, I'm going to put the first available in, and I'm just going to use the auto config, right? So 192.168.1.1 would be my first available host address. And then I click here and you see what happens. It goes 255.255.255.0. Why? Because it goes, well, that's a Class C network. That's what you're doing. You go, no, I'm not. My subnet value would normally be 255.255.255.0, but I've stolen 2 bits. 128 plus 64. These 2 bits on here on the left. If I add them up, they become 192. So that means, right, 128 plus 64 is 192. So that changes my subnet mask for all of the networks that I've just changed to 255.255.255.192. So if I want this subnetting to work, otherwise I'll just consider it a Class C network, I have to go into fast Ethernet 0 and change this to 192 because I'm using an extra 2 bits from the host to create multiple networks. I turn that puppy on. Then I come over here. The last available address is, am I doing this right? No, I'm not. 65. This should be 64, and that should be 63. Yes. No, I got it right. So you can see what happens. You get all these numbers, you get a little confused. So 63, sorry, network ID -1, 63. Last available host 62. I go to the server here. I go to the desktop. I go here, and I'm going to put the last available address, 192.168.1.62, which given us 62. By the way, each of these networks, because we cut it evenly, give them 64 networks. Subnet mask is wrong again. I got to go back in here, 192, and I tell the default gateway 192.168.1.1, right? And I'm good. Now I can also, because it's 1 to 162, I can go over this guy here and say, you know, I'm just going to make you 10. 192.168.1.10. Got to change the subnet again to 192, and the default gateway is 192.168.1.1. Okay, and we shut that off. Cool. And I can come over to the desktop, and I can do any number on here. So on this one, I'm going to make it 150 just for kicks. All right. That means that all of these guys are on that network. If I use a number from down here, like 195, it would not work because I'm on, whoops, thank you very much, 192.168.1.50. Change the subnet to 192, and the default gateway 192.168.1.1. There you go. If I put an IP address over here with that subnet mask, so like I put 195 up here, it wouldn't work because it says, you know what, I'm over on this network. Now if all that worked, we should be able, we'll go to the server here, and we'll go to the command prompt, and we're going to ping our default gateway 92.168.1.1, and she pings, right? No problem. So then we just go around the horn. Okay, so this one over here is fast Ethernet 1/0, so I'm going to put the second network on there. My first available IP address is 65. I make that the default gateway, and let's just run around the horn here. So okay, so 192.168. What is it? 1.65. New subnet. Look at that. It actually knows what's going on because I subnetted the first router, and our router is learning. All right, so I close it over here. Last one's 126. So I go here. We go to desktop. 192.168.1.126. Subnet's mask is wrong. I fix that up. Default gateway is 192.168.1.65. Did I do that right? I did. Cool. And if we go to here, we can ping our default gateway 192.168.65. You can see it's pinging. And then I could give the PCs here, these guys here, any address on that network. So I could 70, 75, 80, 85, all the way up to say 125, because I use 126 to the server down here, right? Let's go to our third network. Well, we can see our third network ID is 192.168.1.128. First available host is 129. So let's do that. That's fast Ethernet 0. Fast Ethernet 0. Put the address in 192.168.1.129. New subnet 192, right? 192, and we'll turn that guy on. And on the 128 network, and by the way, I'm not labeling these, which I should be doing. The last available host is 191. I'll put that on the server over here. Desktop 192.168. Woo! 168.1.128. 129 because it's our third network. We fix the subnet mask again. 192.168. Oh, hello. There we go. 2225. And this is our third network, so it's 192.168.1.129 is our default gateway. And I'm just going to check to make sure I can do that. Ping .168.1.129. Did I do that right? Yes, I did. Perfect. Let's go to the fourth network over here. It's 192.168.1.192.193 is the first available host. So this is Fast Ethernet 10. Let's go to Fast Ethernet 10. Let's put that default gateway in 192.168.1.193. And this now is learning because we just did that. Actually, I'm just going to go back and make sure that I turned on Fast Ethernet 0. Yes, I did. Cool. So I've just configured the servers. The PCs can be anything you want. Put the first one IP address on each of these. Normally I would put these network IDs on the network so it's easy to work with. I would label these guys so that I know. For example, that one is 192.168.1.62. Right? Come down here for the server just to practice. That's a second network, so it's 192.168.1.126. And I do this because once you start flipping around all these numbers and stuff, life gets very confusing. Oops, sorry. Third network. Third network. There we go. 192.168.1. I look on the third network. It is 191. Yep, .191. And the last available IP address on the fourth network should be. Did I do that wrong? Possibly. Let me see what I got on here. Desktop. Oh, I didn't put anything up. Okay, so that should be 192.168.1.254, which should be the last available IP address. And with a subnet value of .192, which would be great. All right. And I've already got my IP address. Let's just double check. That's Fast Ethernet 1. Looks like it's up. Fast Ethernet 1 is 192.168.193. Copy. I'm just going to ping it. Just make sure everybody's running. And I type in ping, right? And paste. That works. Right? And we're just going to go over here and rename this one. And Packet Tracer never lets me copy stuff, so 1.254. And there you go. So I've set it up with I've split it up into 4. Use the very first available IP address as the default gateways on all the networks. Use the last available IP address on all of the servers. Now I didn't put anything on the serial, so just for kicks on the serial, we'll go serial interface 3. We'll use 10.0.0.1. That'll use a normal broadcast address, right? And then I'll come over here and I'll go fast serial 2 and I'll use 10.0.0.2. Did I do that right? I hope so. 255, turn it on. Double check my serial over here. This one should be 2. Did I do that wrong? I did do that wrong. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, cool. Now, what do we have? This router knows about this network and this network, and this router knows about this network and this network, but they don't know about each other. So I'd actually have to put static routes on here, right? So I'm just going to say, look, I'm going to use wildcards here. So if you want to talk to the 0.0.0.0 network, that's any other network besides the one you know about, with a subnet mask of 0.0.0.0, then go talk to 10.0.0.2. And I add that route. Then I come back over to this router here, and I go to static routing, and I say, hey man, if you want to talk to any network other than the 2 that you know about with any subnet mask, then go talk to 10.0.0.1. Add. Now if all things work, then I should be able to go to this server here, which is the 192.168.1.254, which is the last available IP address on the 4th network, and I should be able to ping the other server up there. So I'm going to go ping 192.168.1.62, and hopefully if I've done my math right and everything like that, and the static routes are up and active, then it should ping across. If it doesn't, then I got to do some networking, but hopefully, dear Lord Jesus is going to love us. Come on, buddy. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. I know you can do it. why you're not working. So let's find out. Let's go double check our static routes. Okay. So static routes 19. If you want to talk to anybody, go talk to 10.1, which is that's serial 2. Yeah. And if you want to go talk to anybody, go talk to 10.1. Did I do that right? May have taken a second for that. Oh, what's going on there? No, it should actually work. It's very odd it doesn't. So let's check our configurations. So let's go here. 192.168.1.62, 255.255 default gateway. So let's actually try and ping out and start troubleshooting. If we do an IP config, should show IP config. There we go. So my default gateway is 254.255.255. Why does it not have a default? Oh, hey, cool. Do we not have a default gateway? Oh, well, there you go. There's the answer. Okay, so our default gateway was 192.168.1.193, which was the first available IP address. And you can see when you start bouncing around and putting all these things in, it's very easy to make a mistake or forget to put something in, right? So now we got a default gateway. That should be correct. 193. Yeah, everything's good. And then we can try and do a ping. Oh, look at that. Ta-da. That's good. So now we've got 4 networks, all deriving from the original network of 192.168.1, which is a Class C network. We've used the first available IP address on each network as the default gateways all around. Last available IP address as the servers. And we're assigning PCs any address that's available on the network they are on. So for the second network, I can use 66 all the way up to 125 because I use these two. Over here in the third network, I could use anything from 130 to 190. And this last one, I can go 194 to 253. I put 2 wildcard static routes so we could ping across and everybody loves each other. Happy, happy, joy. And I would normally label all of these with the network IDs and the CIDR value. In this case, it's /26. And there you have it. Label everybody. Everybody can talk. Everybody's all happy. And we've taken a Class C network and done basic subnetting. Not variable length, just standard subnetting, cut into 4. And we blew a Class A network here in the middle. But what the heck? It's internal, so we don't care. So there you have it. Little mini subnetting lab with some troubleshooting, just to make sure everything's right. Because don't forget, you need default gateway, proper IP address, proper subnet. All of these things have to work, or your network doesn't work. It's not it sort of works. It either works or it doesn't. You've either done everything correctly or you haven't. So there you go. I hope that helps, and you can apply that to the other lab that I've given you. So have a great day.